Hello, it's Mehdi Tahiri. Welcome to Ielts Foundation, Unit 2. What TV programs did you watch when you were a child? I used to watch a lot of TV programs. I used to watch Tracy Beaker on CBBC, and I also watched a lot of cartoons back then. Ben 10, Tom and Jerry, and so on. Where did you go last Nowruz? Last Nowruz, I went to Shiraz. We had a great time. We stayed at a hotel. I think we stayed at Shiraz for like 5 days or 6 days, I'm not sure. Nearly a week basically. And we went to the different gardens, we went to museums there, and we had a splendid time. Talk about someone you saw last week. Last week, I saw one of my cousins. It had been a long time that I hadn't seen him, so we got in touch. We went to a cafe and we started to, talk about our daily lives, our jobs, and we basically just caught up with what we were doing. Describe something you saved money for. Well, the last thing I remember I saved money for was my car. Um, as a 26-year-old man, I tried to work really hard saving money until I eventually bought a car. I think buying cars in Iran is quite difficult for many people, and it's because of the fact that it's really expensive. But luckily, I managed to buy it. Describe something you didn't like when you were a child. This is a good one. When I was much younger, I really hated turnips, and I still do. Um, Many Persians believe that turnips is like the organic penicillin in winter, but I just don't like it. I don't like the smell. I don't like the taste. I basically just run away from it. Um, when I'm really ill, I might have some, but it's just awful. It's terrible. Describe someone you met 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I met one of my best friends. His name is Ali. I met him at a language school. He was also an English teacher. We started to talk about different methods in teaching, different books, and we shared a lot of ideas. And eventually, we had to part ways because I had to go to another language school to teach, and he remained in the other language school, not mentioning any names. What was the first time, when was the first time you went to the north of Iran? I don't really remember. I think I was really little. Probably 3 years old, 4 years old at that time. I don't remember much, but we do have some pictures and videos from that time. Um, we have this photo of, all of us, we're around like 25 people, and everyone is holding a banana and eating it. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know why they took that photo, but that's what I remember. When did you first meet your best friend? Well, one of my best friends uh, is Vahid. I remember the first time I met him was at a language school in Dolatabad. We basically, he was a student back then, and I was an observer at a classroom. I went inside the classroom, and at that time, I remember that his teacher asked him some questions, and with his lovely American accent, I actually thought he was a guest too. I thought he just came to sit down in the class as a guest, And then later on, I realized his accent was just really good, and yeah, he was a very good English student. When was the first time you ever cooked? I'm not really sure. I think I was really young back then. I think the first food I cooked was probably just some eggs. I fried some eggs when I was younger and I had that for breakfast. I'm not really a good cook even today. I'm not really a good chef or something, but that's all I could remember. When was the last time you went to a restaurant? Quite recently, actually. My wife and I went to uh, a restaurant in Dolatabad. They sell Arabic food like shawarma, falafel, and we basically ordered a falafel and a shawarma sandwich. We also ordered some samosas, and yeah, that's the place we went to. We don't regularly go there because there are many other fast food shops there, fast food restaurants. But this time we went there because our favorite shop was closed. Describe the high school that you went to. Ooh, where do I start? I went to Acton High School in London. It was a very good school. The reason why I say it was very good was because I'm comparing it to a lot of schools in Iran. It had great facilities. It had 3 floors, but the school was, huge. I remember my first 2 weeks there, I used to get lost all the time. I didn't know where to go for my classes. And it had a gym, it had 2 big tennis courts. We used to play football there anyway, but it had 2 big tennis courts. It had a very big field, back garden. It had a big canteen. It was humongous. When was the last time you felt embarrassed? I think I think the last time I felt embarrassed was on the day of my proposal to my wife. I had a very bad throat. I could barely speak, and I remember my father-in-law asked me some questions and I just made this kind of squeaky sound. I couldn't talk, but luckily my dad answered the question for me and I felt really embarrassed. When was the last time you felt scared? I'm not really sure actually. Maybe it was back when I was very young, in Halloween when people in London used to, go trick or treating. And I remember one time they knocked on our door. I opened the door and I saw a bunch of kids with scary masks. I felt quite scared back then. But then I realized Halloween is something that happens every year and I got used to it. When was the last time you felt in a good mood? I'm normally in a good mood, especially when I have, a lot of classes and I'm making money. Um, so I'm normally in a good mood. But if I want to point out a specific time, I would say it was when, let me think, this is a tricky one. I think it was when I had a lovely picnic with my family at a park in it's near Dolatawad, I would say. It's called the Azadigan Park or the Tuska Park. We had a lovely picnic there. We had some barbecue, and yeah, I was really in a good mood that day. When was the last time you were surprised? I remember in my last birthday, my wife surprised me. She invited my cousin and his wife, and I was coming back from a teacher training course. Um, it was like a workshop for a day, and then once I returned, I saw them all inside the house, and I was surprised. It was a very good day. I wish it happens again. How do you normally feel when you lose something like your phone? I would go mad. I would go berserk. I don't like losing things. I normally don't lose anything because I'm very organized. I keep everything in its right place. Um, but if I do ever lose something, I think I would go really angry. I would become angry, and I don't know what I would do. I would probably panic a little. Yeah. Did you ever see a scary creature? What happened? I wouldn't say I saw a scary creature, but I remember the first time I saw a hedgehog in my friend's back garden. I was a bit curious. What is that, thing with a lot of sharp pointers? I mean, I didn't know what it was, and when I got closer, I think I gently touched the hedgehog with the football in my hand. And then I saw it move, and I got even more curious. And my friend said, "Ah, it's just a hedgehog. There are a bunch of hedgehogs in the back garden. They find their way through the back forest, which is near the railway of the train station. There are a lot of hedgehogs over there, apparently." That's it. Thank you for listening.